Hi, 5th grade. This is Mrs. Gioka with your flipped math lesson for today, 3-5. Today's objective: I can use the distributive property to simplify and solve problems. So today we're going to use a new property, the distributive property, and I like this property a lot. I think it's kind of fun to use. So here is a question for us. What is the distributive property? Now the explanation is kind of big, so we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out what it means. The distributive property is multiplying a sum. We know a sum is an answer to a addition problem, Multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying the parts of the sum and adding them together. So what it's saying is, if when you multiply a number, say you're multiplying 9 times 12, if 12 is the sum and you're multiplying 9 times 12, it's the same as multiplying the parts of the sum. So thinking about what makes up 12, like 6 plus 6. So if you're 6 plus 6. So if you multiply 9 times 6 plus 6, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's kind of cool. So here's our first problem, 6 times 18. And you can see that I have broken up 18 into two parts, two add-ins, or two numbers that you add together, like 10 and 8. And the reason I chose these numbers, there's a specific reason. I'm always going to pick numbers that are easy for me to multiply, and it's always going to be easy to multiply 10, right? We learned about that just a couple of days ago, how easy it is to multiply things like 10, 100, and 1,000. So if I can, I'm always going to break it into that number first, and then whatever is left over, okay? Now, 6 times 18 is the same as multiplying 6 times 10, I got that 10 from right here, and then adding it together with 6 times 8, and that 8 came from right here. Okay? That's all it is. Just multiplying 6 times the parts. I multiply it times each of the parts of 18. So I'm going to show you. 6 times 10 is 60, and then I'm going to add that together with 6 times 8. And 6 times 8 is 48. So 60 plus 48 is 108. And that's what my sum, or I'm sorry, that's what my product should be. If I showed you 6 times 18, I could do it like this as well. This is not the distributive property though, but I can check it to make sure it's right. 6 times 8 is 48. Carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 more is 10. 108. It is the same answer. So I can use the distributive property to multiply these big numbers, like 6 times 18. I can't do that in my head, but I can multiply 6 times 10 in my head. I can multiply 6 times 8 in my head, and then I can add them up together. So I'm using some mental math to figure this out. It's pretty cool. This is an array to show you exactly what's going on. So what we're doing is we're breaking that number 18 down into two parts, the number 10 and the number 8. And this is just a picture model to show you what's going on. So first I multiplied 6 times 10. So I multiply whatever's on the side with numbers on the top. And I kind of bring them together here. Okay? So 6 times 10 is 60. Then I'm going to multiply this number, 6, with the next number on the top. 6 times 8 is 48. So these are the parts, or the partial products is what it's really called. And then I add them together, 60 and 48. Add that up and I get 108. Okay? So this is just a picture model to show you exactly what we just did. Let's try another one. 12 times 308. And you can see that I know it's going to equal 12 times something plus 12 times something else. Now remember what I said to always break it down into, if I can, tens, hundreds, and thousands. So I'm going to break this one into 300 plus 8. 308 is the same as 300 plus 8. So then I'm going to multiply 12 times 300 and 12 times 8. So I'm going to put that here in my equation, 12 times 300, and then I'm going to add that to 12 times 8. So 12 times 300, I'm going to underline the numbers that are not 0. 12 times 3 is 36. Tack on those two zeros. See how easy that was? I'm going to add it to 12 times 8. 12 times 8 is 96. So now I have 3,600 plus 96. 3,696 is my final answer. Let's try this one. 509 times 11. Now, this time I broke down 509 as the first number. I did that instead of multiplying times, or I did that instead of breaking down 11 because I can multiply times 11. I know my 11s. So I'm going to break down the bigger number, the more complicated number probably. So 509, I want to break it down into 500 plus 9. So I'm going to multiply 11 times each of those add-ins. So 11 will be multiplied times 500 first, so 500 times 11, and then 9 times 11. So 500 times 11, so 5 times 11 is 55. I tack on those 2 zeros. I'm going to add it to this one over here. 9 times 11 is 99. So 5,500 plus 99 is 5,599. See how cool and easy this is? I love the distributive property. 12 times 47. Now I'm going to break down the 47 because it's the more complicated number. I'm going to break it down into 40 plus 7. So I'm going to multiply the 12 times 40 and the 12 times 7. So 12 times 40 is going to be first, plus 12 times 7. All right, 12 times 4 is 48. Tack on that 0. Then I'm going to add on 12 times 7. 12 times 7 is 84. Now I have 480 plus 84, and if I need to, I could just rewrite it like that. That's okay. And then add it up. 16, carry the 1, and I get 564 is my answer. All right, so this time I did not put any of the numbers. I want you to give it a try and see what numbers you would put in the equation. Okay, did you break down 86 into 80 plus 6? I hope so. Then you should do 7 times 80 and 7 times 6. And 7 times 80, I'm going to underline the numbers that are not 0. 7 times 8 is 56. Tack on the 0. And I'm going to add it to 7 times 6. That's 42. So now I'm going to add it up. I'm going to move that 42 down here and just add them up. 10 and then 6. 602. All right. 220 times 8, how would you break that down? Okay, did you change 220 to 200 plus 20? That's what I would do. And then multiply it times 8. So I'm going to multiply 200 times 8 and then 20 times 8. Okay, so I've got 200 times 8, multiply the 2 and the 6, or sorry, 2 and the 8 to get 16, tack on the zeros, then I multiply 2 times 8, that's 16, tack on that 0, now I add them up together. So I'm going to add 160 to 1,600, 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 6 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7, and then 1 plus nothing is 1, so 1,760. Okay, it's time for you to do a few completely on your own, and then I will show you the solution at the end. Here we go, number 1, 80 times 64. Which number are you going to break down? Okay, you should have broken down the 64 because you can multiply 80 even though it's a big number. It's easy to multiply times 80 because it ends in a 0. So break down that 64 into 60 plus 4, and then you're multiplying 80 times 60 and 80 times 4 and adding them together. Then you get 4,800 for the first part, and then 320 for the second partial product. Add them together, get 5,120. Try another. 16 times 102. Okay, so you should have broken up 102 into 100 plus 2. And the reason I did that instead of breaking up the 16 is because I could easily get to 100 on this problem. And then if I need to multiply 16 times 100, that wouldn't be too hard, and 16 times 2 wouldn't be too hard. And that's what we did over here, 16 times 100 plus 16 times 2. So 16 times 100 is 16 times 1 is 16, and then tack on those 2 zeros. And then 16 times 2 is 32. Add them together, and I get 1,632. Number 3, 101 times 33. Ooh, this time you get to set up the entire problem. Okay, so you should have broken down the 101 into 100 plus 1, and then we're going to multiply 33 times 100 and then 33 times 1. So 100 times 33 equals 3,300, and then 1 times 33 is 33. Add those together and you get 3,333. Try number 4. 390 times 40. Okay, so it makes more sense to break the 390 into 300 plus 90, and then you're going to multiply the 300 times 40 and the 90 times 40. So I multiplied 300 times 40, underline the digits that are not 0, so 3 times 4 is 12, and then tack on 1, 2, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3. Then I multiplied 90 times 40, 9 times 4 is 36, and then tack on 2 zeros to get 3,600. Add those two numbers together and you get 15,600. All right, we are finished for today. Thanks, bye-bye.